Your marriage doesn't just need more time, it needs different choices. Have you ever said, I wish we had more time? Have you ever found yourself saying, we just don't have enough time? And have you ever said any of these about your marriage? When things slow down, we'll spend time together. I know we've said that. When this season is over, we'll start having date nights again. And when the kids aren't so busy, we'll have more time for us.
Yep. We said that.
But what if more time isn't actually what your marriage needs? You can't add an hour to your day. And chances are life isn't suddenly going to become less demanding.
But you can change what you're doing with the time you already have. So last week, we talked all about alignment and whether the way we're spending our time reflects what we say matters the most. But once you recognize that something is out of alignment, there's a question you have to answer. What are we actually willing to change?
And that's adjustment. And here is the good news. This is good news, isn't it, Teresa? You don't have to change everything to change the direction of your marriage.
Wow, that is good news.
So awareness showed us where time is going. And alignment showed us where our priorities and our patterns don't match. Adjustment asks, what are we willing to do differently with the time you already have? Let's jump in. Now, we are in our redeemed time arc, and here it is right here. And you can see how awareness leads to alignment, which then leads to adjustment.
That's right.
And so everyone has the exact same amount of time. 24 hours in Texas. A day in Texas is 24 hours. A day in Georgia is 24 hours. A day in South Africa is 24 hours. A day in Australia is 24 hours. It doesn't change. Everyone gets the same amount of time.
Hours in a day. Yes, that's right.
But what matters is what we do with it. And when we make the effort, it's like going on a crash diet. When someone decides to go on a crash diet trying to lose weight quickly, people make severe adjustments to their schedules in order to try to find more time. And just like crash diets, those type of schedules don't usually work out, do they, Teresa?
No, you can't maintain that, just like the crash diet. You really can't maintain it.
And you can't create more time. But what you can do is redirect the time you've already been allocated, Teresa.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to be getting into that. So redirecting your time to what matters most to you.
It's so important to know where your time is going. And it's so important to know how you're spending your time doesn't match your priorities. So that's why we have this free marriage audit. It's a free download. It's on our website. There's a link below in the comments. You can grab that, and it helps you document where your time is going. It's just a tool. It's a tool to tell you where you're spending your time. Use that to find out where you're spending your time. Then you discuss it to find out where your time is not the patterns, where the time patterns are not matching the priorities that you have already agreed to. You know what's important in your life. But when you find out where the patterns don't match, and that's where you make the adjustments, Teresa.
Yes, it's going to be so helpful for you. It'll make things easy to see, which is why we did all of the awareness part first and the alignment last week.
And I know most of you have never ridden on a horse, but you've seen the movies where there's the reins. And usually you see someone who knows what they're doing. They're not holding the reins tight, and they're not pulling this and pulling that. It's a very gentle little tug here or a little tug there, and that horse knows exactly what you want to do, and that horse just naturally falls. So if your horse is close to this ditch, and you're close to it, you don't want to yank on the reins on this side and go over to the other ditch, right?
No,
we
sure
want
don't.
to stay in the center where our priorities and our time line up, Teresa.
Yes, that's a good analogy. You don't want to get yourself in one ditch or the other trying to be extreme. So just said, little adjustments are going to be the best thing for your marriage.
And if you're like me, it would be a disaster if I woke up tomorrow morning and say, I'm just going to get up at 5 a.m., I'm going to run 6 miles, and then I'm going to just not eat anything unhealthy for 6 months, and I'm just going to do this every day. That would be a disaster, because I no way I could do that physically or emotionally or psychologically.
Yeah, psychologically
I
either.
could not do that. But you can make small changes, cut out sugar or reduce sugar or replace cow milk with soy milk or almond milk or different.
Or just start walking
Or just instead of trying to run 6 miles a day. I'm not going to run 26 miles tomorrow morning. I'm just not going to do it. So, but it's the small adjustment, Teresa. And that's how you become successful. In anything you do, when you make it's those small incremental adjustments. And it's no different to your marriage. Marriage isn't different than a great exercise diet plan where you make small adjustments. You get what happens is you start going into the right direction, right?
Yes.
So you make these small dietary adjustments and it changes the direction. So in your marriage, here's our redeemed time arc, how things you do over time forms a pattern, and these patterns will form a direction. So in order to change the direction, we have to change the patterns. In order to change the patterns, we have to change what we do with our time. Now, one evening wasted watching television or playing games on your phone is not going to ruin your marriage. It's not. It's the repeated patterns, the direction. Now, if you do that night after night, that's forming a pattern. That's going to move your marriage into a direction that you don't want it to go. It doesn't align with your priorities or your values. So let's do small, incremental changes that are lasting, that will change the direction of your marriage.
Yeah, you could just say a little bit of TV, and then there's a time you can turn it off, and then now it's time for us to talk or get ready for bed so we can do a devotion together and pray and have some time to discuss it. And then you haven't lost your whole evening on television.
Here's a discussion you need to have this week. What needs less of our time? So if you do the marriage audit, you can see, okay, you can look at the minutes you're spending on something a week and you say, we really don't want to spend all that time that we're spending on X, whatever it is. And you can say, here's something we can adjust. We're not telling you to cut out everything immediately. We're not telling you to do that. We're not telling you to throw away your phones. We're not telling you to smash in your television. We're not telling you to unplug your internet.
No.
We're not telling you to do those things. We're really not. We're not telling you to break your golf clubs. No. We're not telling you to do all that stuff. What we're telling you to do is make small adjustment. Teresa?
That's right. And that way it's not such a shock to you or to your spouse, and it's something that you can turn into a pattern. If you make small adjustments in the right direction, it can become your new patterns.
Then you can identify what needs more of your time. And I know you love your spouse, you love your marriage, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. And you might realize from doing the audit, wow, we're really not praying enough. Or we're not really discussing scripture enough, or I'm not really having the quiet time that I need to have to minister to my wife. Or the wife may say, I'm not really having the quiet time I need to be the godly wife, or I'm not getting enough rest to minister to my spouse in the ways that need ministering to. I just don't have enough energy at the end of the day to minister to my spouse. So if that's a case, then we need to identify different ways to adjust where we're spending our time. It's like your budget. You only have so many dollars a week. And if you spend it on X, then you can't spend it on Y, right? Choose where you spend your money. So you have to choose where you're spending your time. And we're not saying you can't have fun, you can't have hobbies. What we say, yes, you should have those things, but you need to be intentional on the hours that you spend on those things. Teresa?
Yes, that's so good.
All right. Now, our house, it has a fixed square footage. And unless we did a big construction project or renovation, we're not going to create any more storage in our house. And a lot of houses, a lot of people, they'll say, we just don't have enough storage space. A lot of people say that when actually they do have enough storage space. They just got stored with things they don't need, right? Now, if you got stuff in your closets that you have not seen in 10 years, and not touched, put your hands on in 10 years, you have not used in 10 years, that may be a clue that you may need to get rid of that thing. And that, guess what? That creates more storage space.
It certainly does. That's a great practical example.
So what we can do is we can create space instead of waiting for space to, oh, this closet space. I didn't know we had this closet. No. So it's like time. You just don't wait until time magically have more time to pray together. You have to create that space to pray together, working together on whatever needs to be done at the end of the day, to put the dishes, wash the dishes, put them away, get the kids to bed, not neglecting those things because those are precious times with your children, not rushing through that, but do it as a tag team to minister to your kids and give them the love and the attention they need, because they do need it. But then you can do stuff to create more space at the end of the day.
Yes, I know having set bedtimes for kids really helps, especially if they're in school. If they're staying up late on weeknights, they're going to be groggy-headed in the morning, getting up early to go to school, and that's not great for the evening either, because it leaves you very little time to have your quiet time together if the kids are taking up all of the evening. So, yes, having a good 8 o'clock bedtime or whatever is appropriate for their age, so it's like they're all taken care of. You might have a few other tasks to do after they're in bed, and then the rest of the evening is yours. You can create that space for your spouse and yourself to enjoy time together.
And we want to talk about the importance of intentional yeses and intentional nos. You need to be intentional with your yeses and intentional with your nos. You don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to say no to everything. So what you need to do is be intentional.
Yes, it really takes discussing with each other what is, like you said, the most important things for we as a couple or your whole family to dedicate time to, because there's going to be plenty of things to do that everybody wants you to do, but you can't do all of them, whether it's having to do with your marriage or something with the kids or your whole family. Just be selective as to the very best things that you need to invest time in, and then no to the other things, because you just be overcommitting yourselves. You're, as a married couple or as individuals, or like I said with the kids, overcommitted, and it would totally be stressful to even find any time to spend together.
Out in our church, we have many different outreaches. And they're all good outreaches.
They're all great.
They're ministering to all types of people, hurting people. They're great things, and they're wonderful. But we can't say yes to everything. Sometimes we have to say no, not because it's not an important thing, and not because it's not something useful, not because God's not in it, because God certainly is in it. We have to say no to some things and to create space in our week.
Yes, because opportunities and or invitations to do things does not necessarily mean you have to do it, okay? Because a lot of people say, I've got these opportunities, that means I'm supposed to do it. No, you need to be going to God and saying, God, is this something I need to do, or is my cup already full? Am I doing what you've already called me to do for this time in my life, for this season with my family? Are we already committed to what we need to do and not add anything else? A lot of times that's the case.
Not every open door is God's leading. So what you want is God's leading, and don't be dependent upon doors being open or doors being closed. Now, Teresa, why is it important for couples not to try to fix everything all at once.
Wow. It's better to do a few things well than to do several things badly. Like you said, just going extreme with the getting up early and running in the morning and totally healthy diet, slamming into it when you haven't had that lifestyle before. I'm not saying just you in particular, but if a person hasn't had that lifestyle before, it's not doable. You're going to feel like a failure on day 1 or day 2. And if you try to change everything, you're just going to be stumbling, a lot. You're going to be doing things badly and feeling like, then I can't do anything. We can't change anything or do anything right or fix this problem. So it's going to be overwhelming, definitely.
Let's go for some victories. Let's
yes,
pick something,
we want victories.
1 or 2 things that we can change this week that we can have a victory over and be victorious about. Teresa?
Oh, yes. That's really the way the Lord teaches us and trains us anyway. Think about this. I've always heard this phrase, training for reigning, for years and years, like ever since I was a new believer. And I always thought, that sounds interesting. But really the way God does it is a step at a time, one area of your life at a time. You learn diligence, you learn to walk in that thing well, and then he'll start helping you in another area, a step at a time, just in that one area and getting you stronger and building you up. And that way you've gotten a victory in each of these areas, and you're not constantly getting blindsided by temptations or missed opportunities or people saying you should do this and do that and trying to influence what you're doing. No, your walk with the Lord is just like your marriage. It needs to be a step at a time and just let the Lord work in one area, really 2 at the most, but 1 is a great place to start.
And your marriage is full of tiny adjustments. Just as you're on an airliner and you're flying somewhere, that computer is making thousands and thousands of adjustments a minute, tiny little adjustments. And it's not, you don't feel it. I mean, you don't feel the rudders turning and the flaps, and you don't feel the wheel being turned. You don't feel that because they're tiny adjustments. And
it keeps it on course.
But it keeps it on course. So that's how one tiny pattern change can begin changing the direction of your marriage. You don't have to change everything at once.
That's
just
so
change
good.
one. Remember, see our time arc? Time, as we spend our time, forms patterns. And these patterns determine our direction. So let's just change how we're spending our time, and that will change a pattern. That pattern, just one pattern, will begin to change the direction of your marriage. Now, we might decide, hey, this week we're gonna do this. We're gonna turn off the television at 9 o'clock, and we're going to get ready for bed, and we're going to have a time of prayer, and we're going to have a time of sharing, and say something, it doesn't work. Just say something doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's where grace comes in.
If we have church night, we're not even home till 9 o'clock. We haven't had dinner.
So that's when we have grace.
You need
that's
grace.
when we have grace and forgiveness for each other. Okay. We'll try something different, okay?
Yeah.
So let's have a grace for each other and don't kick each other or kick ourselves, not each other, but don't kick ourselves if you tried an adjustment and it doesn't work. Try a different adjustment. You just try something. Lord will help you.
Yes,
the Lord will help you. And
it's something good to discuss with each other. What did you think about this? Is this helping us? Is it working? And give it a little time at least, but like Jeff said, you can adjust in a different way if you're still working on the TV time or making sure you carve out time in your evening for each other together. Then, okay, let's try a different approach.
And these adjustments are not carved in stone. You're not going to carve these into the walls of your house because seasons change and these adjustments will change. How you spend your time from your first day of your marriage until 35 years later, the way you spend your time, it's not going to be the same. It just isn't. Very different. So these adjustments will even continue to be adjusted over time because seasons change.
That's right.
That's right. And we can see our time arc. Remember, time produces patterns, produce direction, and direction determines our outcome. Now,
that's right.
We want to let you know this. You don't have to change everything to change direction. So true. So if our patterns is establishing a direction that we don't like, changing the pattern begins to change the direction. Teresa, that's so good. Yeah. And we talk about a lot of this in our new book, You're Not Losing Love, You're Losing Time. Right here. It's available on Amazon. There's a link for it below. And on our website, inspiringmarriages.net/resources, there are tons of free resources for you. There's 20 creative date ideas. There's 100 conversation starters. There's a 90-day Bible reading plan for Christian couples. Oh, yes, and on. And also on Amazon, we have our 30 days to rebuild your friendship guided marriage resource. It's available on Amazon. Here's a picture right here. Grab us a copy of that today. Teresa, next time, we're going to talk about 7 small changes that will give your marriage more time this week. And the video's right here, and we'll see you over there. And remember, God designed husband and wife to be friends for life.